something you can't fix.
If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane.
It's Jay and Adam. It's Preview.
It's Preview's Fix It with Adam and Jay.
Hey, Peaches! Welcome to Fix It, where friends don't let friends fix pop culture alone.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jay, and you're our listener.
Hey there, listeners.
Hi there, listeners. For those of you listening at home, everything is exactly as you remember it. You're hearing our beautiful voices. We just absolutely bodied that intro. We made that. We made sweet, sweet noises in your ears like we usually do. But if you're watching this on YouTube, we are not in our normal studio.
There is no axe behind us right now.
There is all of my fun little tchotchkes, tidbits, and whatnots.
Oh, wow.
Adam and I we're currently in production week for our TTRPG project. And so all of our equipment is over at Lashy's house, and everything is kind of up in the air right now.
Well, as you guys can't, in the podcast land, can't see it, but those on YouTube, there is just a myriad of posts and tripods and lights and stuff behind us. We have all three cameras we use for the podcast are also being used for the RPG show.
So it's
we got everything everywhere. We're in my living room. We're not even in the studio where we normally shoot normal previewed. We're in my living room that's just barely big enough.
Just barely big enough for what we're shooting.
Figured it out. We did a little math. I had to draw a graph. We just enough to have green screens and just enough distance.
So we're here on location to bring you guys Fix It this week. If it's your first time listening to Fix It, I'm Jay and that's Adam, and we are the two hosts of the intergalactic center of all YouTube reaction content previewed. You may know us from over there, from where we react, review, riff, to all sorts of nerd content. And this is our podcast, Fix It, where every week Adam and I take a piece of pop culture that maybe didn't quite get there, maybe missed the mark just a tad bit, maybe just needed one more seismic charge.
I see what you did there, yes.
And we fix it. And this week here on Fix It, Adam and I are going to be fixing the 2021...
Yeah?
Yes, the 2021 Disney Plus show, The Book of Boba Fett.
Was that not the beginning of last year?
2022, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was the beginning of last year.
Yeah, maybe it was 2022.
Yeah, it was 2022.
The Book of Boba Fett. We're fixing that today.
Because Mando Season 3 starts tomorrow.
It sure does.
Season 3. Tomorrow.
Is that really next week?
Yes.
Bro.
March 1st.
Bro.
We're recording on a Friday. This comes out on a Tuesday. Mando is tomorrow.
And
for those listening at home.
And I was beginning to think next week might be like more casual week.
No, man. That's the first week of 3 where we have Last of Us and Mando in the same week.
I mean, it's good for business.
Yes, it is.
I'm not mad about that at all.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, we're fixing Book of Boba Fett this week, and it's a show that I loved. But I know I am very much in the minority of people on the internet.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like it. I also really enjoyed it.
I think a lot of people were like, it was fine.
Yes. Some people probably despise it. But there are worse Star Wars things to watch. But it was still good. It just wasn't actually a Boba Fett show. I think that's ultimately the problem. If it was just a Boba Fett show, that'd be one thing. But it wasn't just a Boba Fett show. Yeah,
they couldn't help themselves.
I mean, we'll talk about it in a second, but I think they found themselves in a situation just like, we got to get the story point out of the way. How do we? He's a part of the story, so we might as well.
Yeah, but putting any kind of Mando situation inside of the Book of Boba Fett to me just felt like a cop-out. And it felt like it felt to me, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I loved all of the Mando stuff in the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, yeah.
I loved all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't need it in the Book of Boba Fett.
No.
To me, it read, we don't feel comfortable enough with the scripts that we've written for this that we feel like we need to add this in here in order to. Now, if these were storylines that directly, crisscrossed with what was going on with Boba Fett, that's a different story.
But
they ham-fisted this in there. Like Din showing up to help Boba was great.
yes.
But all of the other Mando stuff that we got was like, no, this has nothing to do with our character here.
Boba Fett doing his thing.
And I would like to watch him be awesome more,
Yes.
please and thank you. So from that degree, like that frustrated me.
Absolutely.
But in a way that I was like, man, I hate that I'm mad at this because it's good. You know,
It's let us be honest. Those 2 episodes where Boba Fett's not in
yeah.
are some of the best Star Wars
Yes.
ever.
Yes, it's awesome.
Which is that's
just is not Boba
frustrating.
Fett.
That's frustrating
It's
because it
so
was so
infuriating.
good. It was so good.
Yeah.
And Boba Fett had nothing to do with it, and it was episodes of his show.
Yeah.
So,
So,
but we'll get into that in just a little bit. Before we get there, though, Jay, how you doing?
we've got one episode of this project in the can
We taped it last night.
and it went so much better than I expected. It went so much better than I expected.
Uh-huh.
It was I was like, oh, yep, okay, we actually have a thing. Because let's be real, you and I, this has been something we've been talking about and planning around
For a year now.
for a year. And it was always the hanging chat of, okay, cool, are we going to put all of this time and money into this thing and then it sucks?
They better
Uh-oh.
not. Yeah.
Because here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
Sometimes, regardless of how much time and effort you put into something to make something, sometimes it still sucks. You know, like that's just
Yes.
how content goes sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Like sometimes it's like you have the best of intentions and it just like falls apart. It just like turns to sand in your hands. And that's just the nature of the business.
We've done it before. Remember what was worse?
Yep.
Which I think we're still very good, but like it wasn't the thing.
Yeah. It just
But
wasn't.
we learned. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we made some pretty funny sketches out of that.
I absolutely agree.
But it just wasn't. But it also wasn't really what our audience was looking for.
It was not.
And it was before that we realized that, like, okay, if we really wanted to do this, it should have been its own channel. It should have been its own thing.
Oh yeah.
Like we've learned so much from. All
Oh,
the
it was
stuff
important we
we've
did it. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
made. But yeah, sometimes it just things just don't work out. But this is, I think, going to be. It's going to be awesome.
Well, Jay, it was the first time. It's the first video in the network of previewed in the Orchard and what have you, in the Empire, that we're not in.
Yeah, we're actually not like
We are not on camera.
We were behind the camera the entire time.
I mean, we're there. You can hear us. We're laughing and and we're doing stuff, but like we are not on camera.
Yeah.
It is not us.
like tonight, like I'm on camera.
yes.
but
And tomorrow night I am. But
Yeah.
like it's the first video that we did does not have us on camera.
yeah,
And it's kind of a big deal.
yeah.
It's a big deal that we finally got to that point of like we're making stuff, but we don't have to be in it.
We don't
Although we're going to be in it. We're
Yeah.
going to be in the show.
Yeah.
It's just this one episode. We're not in this episode.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, totally honest with you. I've been like losing sleep over how stressed I've been about it.
I know.
And it's not, and it's the kind of thing where it's like not necessarily helpful stress. It's just kind of like, I get into this. Do you do this? I don't think you do. But I will posit to you
yes,
regardless.
sure.
Do you do that thing where you're just like, if you don't, sitting around and stressing about something makes me feel like I'm still like quote unquote like working on it. Like people are like, oh well, like you shouldn't stress about it. There's nothing you can do right now. I'm like, yes, but like the stress is helping. Is it?
Huh.
It's not. Because it means that I'm focused on the project
Sure.
mentally, even
Yeah.
though it's just like not helpful. It's not helpful thinking. But it still not like trying to like get it out of my mind feels like feels lax. It feels like I'm not keeping my eye on the ball.
Sure.
Even though I shouldn't. Even though the ball is fine.
The ball is fine. Yeah.
The ball is fine.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. The difference, I think, is that we really care about this.
Yeah.
We really want this to do well.
Because I think what we're going for with this project, I think like we're actually, while we are doing something that a lot of other people have done, I feel like we have a take on it that like actually fills a need.
Well, once again, we are late to the party when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, as always. Hi, I'm Robert.
Hi, I'm Vanessa. Welcome to Late to the Party. Let's talk about stuff that we know so much about.
Yeah.
But it's a well-trodden road, but we have an angle we don't think we've really seen before, and we're bringing our friends into this.
Yeah.
It's not just us anymore. It's not just our ladies. No. It's our friends joining us on this journey, doing this thing, because they don't know what content creation is like. They got their own careers and jobs and lives and doing stuff. And so this is the first time really doing this stuff, and we want it to be good for them as well, because like we've been loving this for the past couple of years. So it's like, hey, do you guys want to join us on this insane journey and meet all the peaches?
Yeah,
they're gonna love you. They're gonna give you the internet hug of death.
Yeah. And but it's as much as it's been like stressful, it's just like I have to keep reminding myself that like I'm the luckiest boy that this is this gets to be like my focus for the time being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's like, yeah, I'm good. I'll feel a lot better when this weekend is over.
Oh, okay, once we're done typing tomorrow night?
No, honestly, once we make it through Kitchenette Best Friends on Sunday, I'll be like, cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Now I can...
Yeah, pretty much.
Totally fair.
Yeah. But, yeah, so life's good, man.
That's great.
Life's good. So Book of Boba Fett. Man, I forgot that Amanda's coming out this week.
Amanda's coming out this week. Ba-boom.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm tired of defending Book of Boba Fett. I'm tired of defending it to people.
Well, okay. There is so much good going on in this show. Mm-hmm. The good in the show, the awesome things that happen in the show, far outweigh the bad stuff. So let's just talk about those few things that kind of knocked this whole show off course.
Yes.
And the first thing right off the bat, clearly, besides the 2 episodes on starring the main character, were the Mod Squad.
Yes.
People keep focusing in on that because, and rightfully so, the idea makes sense, but its execution visually didn't work.
Here's the thing. They worked so hard for this pun and the concept of mods having modification, like the concept of like the fashion and like revolution that was mod, and like the quote unquote Mod Squad, that television show. Like it's the type of thing where the concept of mod is almost a response to like culture, like kind of like taking a downturn and like being a little bit more downtrodden. Like on Tatooine, it makes sense that there would be a mod revolution of some kind.
Sure.
Where it's like you have all of these youths who are like, we are going to dress nicely. We are going to have the nicest speeder bikes, and they are going to be pristine in defiance of everything going on around us. Like the priority of our appearance and like the way we hold ourselves is a huge thing. And the fact that like they also like modify themselves it's a good pun.
Sure.
It just makes them it doesn't fit. It's like thematically like done correctly, but it just doesn't fit in Star Wars.
They look more like they belong on Coruscant.
They look like they belong in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Like they just don't look like they belong
there.
They
visually are popping off the screen. Mm-hmm. Everything else is beige and dark and gritty and dirty, and you just see these youths.
And that's the point,
right?
But
it sticks in your eye like a splinter.
Yeah,
like a splinter from the mind's eye.
Yeah.
As I stare directly into camera because I just made a really good Star Wars reference joke that I don't think you got.
No, I did not.
It was the first Star Wars book ever written.
Oh.
Back in the 80s.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Did you want your gold star like here, or did you want it?
I'll
like,
take it in
on
the
wall?
comments, or if you guys
Okay.
want to mail it to me.
Awesome.
I'll take a high five.
I don't know. I'm a high five you. That makes it. Leaving someone hanging for a high five, regardless of whether or not they've earned it, and which you did aggressively did not, really just bums me out.
Yeah,
Seeing you slapping your own hand really just
it works.
like brings the world down.
The mods sucked.
Yes, I mean that's
They
neither.
were not great.
The,
The spin to shoot was very bad, and only one of the mods was like a good character, the girl.
They just the long
That
and
was
the
it.
short of it is that like there are so many things glaringly wrong with Book of Boba Fett that like as someone who thoroughly enjoyed the show, I can't argue with.
Sure, no, because those things are wrong and it didn't work.
I just think you have, but the frustrating thing is that I think you have a stable of characters that you've built on Tatooine through Mando that are way more interesting. Like the Cobb coming in like later on is so stupid. Like he should have been a main supporting character of the series that they presented us.
Yeah.
Like for me, my fix, I've structured it like as a 2-season show.
Okay.
And Cobb would be a larger fixture in season 2.
Absolutely.
He's not necessarily huge in my fix here.
He had the armor, and it was brought up in episode 1 of season 2 of Mando.
Yes.
He should have been involved somewhere along the lines of this, and not just cut down by Cad Bane later on.
And I think he is an interesting foil to Boba Fett. That the long and the short of it, my actual big issue with Book of Boba Fett, like all of the like aesthetic things aside, and like things not mattering, the journey, they did not give me a sufficient journey of Boba making the decision to not be a cold-blooded murderer anymore. That's really the long and the short of it.
Yeah, I mean, because they showed us his time with the Tuskens changing him, but he didn't really. At least from memory, didn't do a ton of like, hey, okay, I've learned now that I need tribe, and that's the way to get through this. So I want to change the paradigm here, and I want to set up a tribe, not just for me, but for other bounty hunters and people who have been forgotten by this galaxy, and do some type of good. But I will rule that good and hurt those that oppose it with an iron fist.
And I understand thematically why he kills Cad Bane, but from what they've given us, like the thing is that like his and Boba's relationship is fraught, and part of the reason Boba is the way that he is because of Cad Bane, and that is a really compelling relationship. But we did not get anything in like. There was a ton of flashbacks in this show, but if you like, the thing is like him killing Cad is actually very thematic for what he's going for.
Yeah.
But when you don't know any of that relationship, you're just like, oh man, Boba just stabbed that dude in cold blood on the street. Well, warm blood, not cold, but warmish.
Sure.
Like he didn't have to, but he stabbed him. That's fun, right? That's fun. Like it's just like, oh no, that's actually a rejection of like his previous self. But But if you don't know,
and I didn't really know,
like,
yeah,
there's so many things that it's like, if you want to show me that's the journey I'm interested in.
yes,
As much as there was like, look, Boba Fett riding a Rancor is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. I think about it at least once a day.
yeah, this is one
It's
of the best
the
reactions.
best thing, and it's just the best. But like. All of the but at the end of the day, Boba Fett is like my favorite Star Wars character.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they just like were so flippant with his character that like I just had a hard time taking it seriously because I was like, oh, I guess this is a cartoon character. When also you have an actor who also really wants to take Boba Fett very seriously.
Yes.
And I just don't think the scripts got there. Because I think we can agree the best parts of Book of Boba Fett are the Tusken Raider stuff. That stuff is incredible.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Well, we learned more about Tusken Raiders, finally.
And I also got really frustrated, and I fixed this in my fix. Man, we as an audience could grasp that him and Fennec taking over Jabba's palace would happen at some point in this show. the structure of him being in the palace in the Bacta tank, doing all of these flashbacks, cheapened so much of it for me that I was just like, we can just start. When you start the show of him crawling out of the Sarlacc pit, I know where we are timeline wise.
Yeah.
Like I think they just assumed audiences were so stupid that they'd be like, well, we showed at the end of the thing that he was doing the thing. And I was like, yeah, that we know that happens at some point.
Yeah. The way they told their flashbacks, the device they used, I think, was not great.
No.
Because Boba should be kicking ass the entire time. The fact that he was hurt enough to go into a back to tank multiple times because it was the Animus flashback machine.
Yes.
It's like, no, man, there are different storytelling devices you could use to tell the past about things. Do some flashbacks in a different manner and keep Boba Fett kicking ass and doing stuff. He can come up against obstacles. He doesn't have to always succeed, but he shouldn't be getting his ass kicked. He's a Boba Fett.
Yeah.
He's the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy, even after being thrown into the Sarlacc pit, even after being with the Tusken Raiders for a couple of years and on his own for a couple of years. He's still Boba. He put the armor on and didn't miss a step. He wrecked those stormtroopers, and it was one of the greatest things we've ever seen, ever. And it wasn't even in his own show.
Yeah. But like even him wrecking all those stormtroopers without the armor.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I almost liked that even more.
Yeah.
Just let Boba Fett be Boba Fett. Leo just writing on the notepad in the Oval Office. Let Boba be Boba. Boba, you've got these people all behind you ready to go, and you keep pulling them back.
Nicely done.
Man, the last season of The West Wing got weird. Boba Fett becomes Secretary of the Interior, and everything gets weird. Who knew Jimmy Smits was being Bail Organa the whole time?
Never saw that coming. Quite the twist.
Okay, we skipped one important thing.
Okay.
For those of you who are listening who have not maybe not watched the Book of Boba
Oh,
Fett,
that's right. We completely forgot about this. Sorry about that. We were just so excited.
In our new segment, but we've done
Still
it the past,
newish.
Our new-ish segment, plot drop. Adam, why don't you regale everyone with a quick synopsis of the Book of Boba Fett?
Okay, and I can do this because I actually, to do the fix, I wrote down the past timeline and the present timeline just to figure out, like, wait a second, what happened?
It's tough because I was trying to figure out the timeline of things, and I was like, oh, why does this happen? Okay.
Because it keeps bouncing back and forth instead of just going chronologically.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was hard. I mean, I understand why they did it, but like, I don't know. So here is all of it. Here's the whole chronological story of Boba Fett since the Sarlacc, right? In order. So, as you all know, in Jedi, Han knocks him into the Sarlacc pit. He gets out. The Jawas steal his armor. The Tusken Raiders pick him up. They treat him as a slave for a little bit. Then he saves a kid, and they're like, okay, so maybe you're not so bad. We'll keep you around. They train him how to use a coffee stick. Then they do a train robbery against the Pikes.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And then they're like, hey, Pikes, you owe us money going through our territory. And the Pikes didn't like that because then after Boba gets like a brain lizard and a vision quest, he gets a Goffy stick. It's really amazing. But then all the Raiders show up and kill all the Tusken friends. Oh no! And then basically he finds, eventually skip a couple years, he finds Fennec. They go eventually get the Slave One out of Jabba's palace. They go wreck shop on people. They get vengeance upon the Sarlacc and the Raiders, and then eventually take over Jabba's palace, which is what we see at the end of Mando Season 2. Then, in the present timeline, Boba's trying to set up take over Jabba's territory and kind of have like a okay area place for other bounty hunters and people who don't want to be their own boss and not be beholden to all the other syndicates or whatever that.
Yeah.
But the Pikes don't like that. So the Pikes come in, wage war against Boba Fett. So he's like, hey, Din, I just helped you in your last season. Come help me. And they do. And Jabba's cousins swing by like, hey, or the ones who were supposed to like take over the territory, like, hey, we won our uncle's territory. oh, the Pike's going to kill us. No, we don't. Here's a baby Rancor. And Chrysanthemum is a bounty hunter from the comics that we hired. And screw him, right? So Boba's like, hey, cool Wookiee guy. You want to hang out with us? That'd be neat. And then all the bad guys show up at the end. Boba and company. Everyone comes back to help Boba kill these guys. And it's really cool. And there's a couple of those, what do you call them? Big destroyer droids or whatever with shields and stuff. Like bigger versions of the Clone Wars robots.
Yeah.
Grogu picks Din over Luke.
Yeah.
He comes back. And
there's 2 full-on Mando episodes in the middle there.
Mm-hmm. And Boba rides a Rancor. It's one of the greatest things of all time.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And he kills Cad Bane. That kills, quote unquote, Cad Bane. And then realizes that maybe the last scene of the whole show is like, hey, we did it. Maybe I don't want this anymore. Maybe this is too big for me. And that's how it ends. Maybe, oh, I got it. Oh, but do I want this anymore? I don't know. So I don't know what's going to happen next with Boba Fett.
Yeah, there was such an ennui at the end of the end of the show that just like I was like, but that's the whole. What's the journey here? What's the journey?
Oh, and the little rabbit robot made it.
Great. I just don't know what Boba's journey is here.
He got the thing he wanted, I guess, and then realized maybe it wasn't for him, and maybe someone else is better suited for it. I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the concept of Boba be quote unquote becoming a good guy sucks. Like I have it in my fix, but like for me, I understand what they're going for, and part of me likes it. There's part of me that's like, okay, yeah, sure. If we're gonna have this character around, he's got to have some kind of moral compass. Yeah. But for me, I like a Boba that it's like a Batman situation. I'm like, hi, I'm not the crime lord that you ask for, but I'm the one. Yes. Like
he's Marconi.
Yes. He is a gentleman, John Marconi. He is. I am not going to hurt anyone innocent. If anything, I celebrate your innocence. I think it's wonderful.
You're lucky. I'm the bad guy that's here. Yeah. I know I'm bad.
I'm not here to hurt anyone that is not asking for it.
But there's business to be done here, and no one else is doing it. Yes. So I can go about this in a professional manner.
You want me on that wall.
You need me on that wall.
You can't handle the truth.
You truly can't.
Like, that's the Boba that I can get down with.
Because there's a power vacuum.
And someone needs
to fill it, because Bib Fortuna clearly wasn't going to do it. You don't want the other syndicates here on Tatooine doing stuff? No, you really don't.
Yeah, it's like if the Pikes were moving in the way that they were moving in during Boba Fett, and Bib Fortuna is the one running, like, it's not going to go well.
It's not going to go well at all. A lot of people are going to get hurt.
Like, Jabba had backup. Jabba had an entire planet full of... Like, he had an entire crime syndicate. He had, I always call Narhada, it's Nalhada?
Nalhada, I believe.
Nalhada, like, crime Coruscant.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then again, I also just really liked watching it. So like,
there's a lot of good things in there, but
so frustrating.
But it is kind of frustrating. Of the Star Wars shows we've gotten so far, the live action ones, which is really just 3 seasons of stuff, it is the most frustrating.
Yeah. But the mods, man. And I love how that's like the first thing out of your mouth. It's like, the mods, they're bad. And I'm like, yep, I can't
they were bad.
I hate it when a show you like has that one thing that you can't fight.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, those mods are bad. And I'm like, yep.
Well, because, I mean, from jump, when we did the reaction to the video, everyone was like...
It's like, it's like whenever, like, you like... Your friend group meets one of your cousins or something, and like your cousin is just like kind of not being cool. Yeah. And they're like, "Man, your cousin." I'm like, "I know, but they're my cousin. There's nothing I can do about it.
Nothing I can do about it. I wish I could.
I agree, but also I'm gonna ride or die for my cousin. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but also like, yep, he pooped in the punch bowl, and I'm so sorry about that. But
Well, remember that first episode, the mods show up. I'm pretty sure they also do that swoop chase scene with the cool guy, the Twi'lek that we really like, who's the actor who was also in She-Hulk, the Major Domo, who showed up, who thankfully stuck around and
that
didn't die.
you really like. I think
He
he's
was
fine.
fun. I liked him. I liked his energy.
Don't you rope me into this? Don't you put that evil on me, Bobby?
But they did that chase scene with him. And the chase scene was really bad. And low speed. It
just didn't look like they were going that fast.
Yes. So why did you do that? I don't know why you did that. You shouldn't have done that. But it was because the mods roll in like Power Rangers, and they're everyone's got their own primary color. I was like, this doesn't look like Star Wars.
Just explain their mindset. Like, if anything, just
they kind of did. Didn't they? They did
just
not.
Someone call it out. Like, Fennec should have said something, being like, "You guys are way too colorful for Tatooine," and they're like, "Yeah, that's kind of the point." That's it. If you just bring us into what they're over, but also they didn't develop them enough for us to really. If you put a gun to my head and say what are their names, I'd be like, clack clack, Nancy. See you later.
The girl and the guy that spins in the last episode.
Man. Yeah, Spinny One Eye, Spinny McGee.
Oh yeah, he's got the
Spinny One Eye. Oh boy.
Oh boy. This show needs a fix.
This show needs a fix. This show needs a fix. That's why we have this podcast. That's why we record a show. That's why we come to fix Boba Fett. It's the best fix that you know. We're fixing the Boba. I can't stop singing.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Lost Jay.
Something's broken my head. It really hurts. It is stinging.
Blue donut.
Adam, something's wrong. Call an ambulance. I'm singing the Fix It song. I hope I don't start to dance. Oh
no! But before we fix it, hey, Brian, hit us with those hot, fun, bean, fun, fact, bean footage, fun, facty, Tatooine, Mahdi versions of the bean facty things.
This is the segment of the show where our producer Brian lets us know all the fun little details and fun facts about the thing we are fixing today, and he answers to his. I
tried so hard.
His siren's call. Brian, roll that beautiful bean fun fact footage.
Thank you, gentlemen. Today we are trying to fix Season 1 of the Book of Boba Fett. This Mandalorian spin-off consists of 7 episodes and was produced by Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Robert Rodriguez, Kathleen Kennedy, and Colin Wilson, and it was directed by a slew of people, including Robert Rodriguez, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Dave Filoni. The Book of Boba Fett premiered December 29th, 2021, and continued into 2022. So, while it was mostly in 2022, it did start in 2021. For more fun facts about the Book of Boba Fett, listen to my interlude in the podcast form of this episode, but I will throw in a little bit of my 2 cents here. One of my issues with the Book of Boba Fett is that the flashbacks and the present-day narratives didn't overlap thematically per episode. If there was a strong conclusion to every episode that tied in what was happening with the Tusken Raiders, along with what was happening in the present, that thematic pull together at the end of each episode would have been way more satisfying. Anyway, back to you, gentlemen.
Great job, Brian.
Hey! Good job, first try, bud.
He sang that whole thing.
I couldn't believe it. And in the rhyme scheme. And that bridge? Ooh, that bridge's going to be stuck in my head for a week.
And how? No, great job, Brian. Who
indeed?
Honestly, I think you and I have been thinking, this one was really hard for me. Fix-wise.
Oh, yep.
This was really hard.
Because you enjoy the show so much.
Yes, but also, it's the kind of thing where it was keeping the things that I liked while separating out the things that I didn't was very, very difficult.
Really?
And working on the assumption that, like, because Mando is its own property and they teased Book of Boba Fett in the way that they did
Right.
at the end of that show, like, kind of locked you into a certain storyline for Boba.
Well, he was connected to the larger Thrawn arc that's kind of going on now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, like, it was like, cool. He is taking over Jabba's palace. There's no irking out of that.
Right.
There's no not doing that.
Right.
So, like, from there, it's like, cool. How do I still honor what happened in this other show
Sure.
and like, fix the show the way I want it to?
Absolutely.
Because, like, the journey of, like, him taking over the palace, it's cool for that scene where he sits in the chair.
It's very cool.
From a storyline perspective, it kind of paints you into a corner in a way that I don't think it evolves his story as well as you want it to. But that being said,
You're going first.
I think I should go first.
Okay.
I'm going first. Okay.
Okay.
Book of Boba Fett.
The series.
The series. I'm not doing a movie. I thought about it being a movie,
Oh.
but this is a series.
Yeah.
I'm structuring this as a season 1 arc.
Okay.
And my thesis statement for my fix was, A, let Boba be Boba.
Yeah.
Let's take out the trash.
Clack clack.
And B, I feel like this show ignores EU and it ignores, like, the bounty hunting universe in a way that I find extraordinarily frustrating.
Well, Star Wars live action has always ignored the bounty hunting aspect of things. I mean, remember, Aura Singh got killed off screen for Solo.
Yeah,
so,
that was
like,
stupid.
that was very dumb. They don't care about bounty hunters and live action stuff, which is unfortunate.
Episode 1,
Yes.
we're not utilizing flashbacks. This is full timeline.
Good for you.
Yes.
Yes.
There is no. I am trusting that the audience is smart enough to know that we are opening this season the same way that the show does. Like, this is Boba Fett escaping from the Sarlacc pit.
Yes.
by himself. Mm-hmm. Like, it is full, and we know as an audience what that means from a timeline perspective.
It's 5 years in the past.
Cool.
Yep. Soon after Jedi.
You have Boba escaping the Sarlacc.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, we're keeping the Tusken Raider stuff because I think it's wildly very, very good.
It's very good.
And also adding a gaffy stick into Boba Fett's artillery is very, very good. Taken by the Tusken Raiders. This first episode, we are getting all the way to the point where he fights that four-armed sand beast.
Yes.
And proves himself to the Tuskens as a formidable warrior.
Right.
Like, basically, like, that's going to be like him returning, like, dropping the head in front of everyone.
He saves the kid.
He saves the kid. And so, while, like, he's kind of their slave for a while, he proves himself, and they go, okay, like, maybe, like...
Cool.
Maybe you can be one of us. Maybe. And then we move on to episode 2, where we're getting the evolution of Boba just becoming one with this, with this Sand People tribe.
Yep.
They have struggles with the biker gang
Right.
at that point. And Boba, like, pretty soundly with the help of that other Tusken Raider
Who was teaching him?
who's badass. The two of them go to the Tashi station and take out those bikers. They come back with with the bikes, specifically, like, Boba's like, we can sell these to the Sand People, like, and we can make a little money for the tribe. And so, like, proving himself in that way to him, proving himself to the tribe, but more importantly to, like, their lead warrior who he goes with. Then he's indoctrinated. We have the mind salamander, which I thought was fun.
Oh, didn't see that coming.
And he builds his own gaffy stick. I hope we're saying that right.
I believe we're right. Brian would have corrected us at this point.
And then at the end of the second episode, we get basically, as Boba, like, has proven himself. We have, like, Tusken Raiders, like, coming back and being like one of them, like, got hit by the train. And was like, cool, we need to deal with this train problem. Like this is they keep coming through. The Pikes keep coming through on this train. And they're running spice. Like
We gotta take him out.
we're gonna have to take them out. So the third episode is Boba teaching all the Sand people to ride the speeder bikes and all that, and then we get the train heist. Everything goes according to like pretty much the same way in the show. Right. And then at the end of that episode, as the Tusken Raiders are like celebrating by the fire, we see off in the distance, like Boba sees like some shots off in the distance, and goes to investigate, finds Fennec.
Cool. Okay, great.
And that's where that's where Fennec enters the story.
Oh,
Why are you
because he's this. So, because the tribe's still alive.
Oh yeah, in my fix, the tribe will be an issue in season 2.
That's awesome. Them dying is one of the things I hated.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it at all.
It felt really flippant.
It did feel flippant. So I'm just that O was, oh, thank God.
And for me,
are they really alive? Oh, good, they are.
For me,
awesome.
Him having a connection to the indigenous people of Tatooine.
Yes.
It helps him stake his claim.
Yes.
On Tatooine.
Yes.
Okay, good. I was like, did I just screw up? Because you made that face like, oh, that's how you're doing it. I was like, no, I think that tracks.
No, you're totally right. I'm just really happy you're doing it.
So he finds Fennec and she's injured.
Yes.
So that's where those timelines kind of cross a little
Great.
bit. In the fourth episode, Boba takes Fennec to the mod healer. And he's like, this is going to take like an extraordinarily long time. Like, you need to figure out like, how you're going to pay for this. He's like, I'll do the work, but like,
sure,
this isn't going to be cheap.
Right.
And so Boba's like, he's like, okay, I've been kind of existing in a world without money for a while here. It's gotten to the point where he's like, hey, I need to get my ship back in order to like, I don't know, maybe there's money on the ship, or I can sell this. I need to go get.
Or he can get money by having the ship doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like, we need to get. He's like, I need to get Slave One back. And he finds out like kind of through the grapevine. I like the idea of him like kind of talking to Jawas.
Sure.
And I like the idea of Boba like learning the Jawa language.
Why not?
Utini, like that kind of stuff.
He's giving him a bunch of eggs.
And he basically like he kind of has to make his way back into like regular society a little bit to like get intel about how to get into Jabba's palace.
Oh, it's been forever.
And he realizes that it's not a one-man job. And so he calls the only person that he feels like he can trust. He basically like goes into a cantina and gets a call out to another bounty hunting friend of his, Dengar. Now, in this episode, we will also have flashbacks to Boba's and Dengar's relationship.
Yeah.
Dengar is what we come to find out is that Dengar and Boba have worked as like partner bounty hunters for an extraordinarily long time.
Yeah.
Part of the reason that they worked so well together is that Dengar is a clone. Now, what we come to find out, the reason that Dengar is covered in bandages.
Right, yeah.
Covered in bandages in Return of the Empire. For those of you who don't know who Dengar is the bounty hunter in Empire Strikes Back. When they have the lineup of everybody, they have Boba Fett, Zuckuss, Forlom, IG-88, and Dengar. I know all of them.
You do,
They're
yeah.
my favorite.
Yeah. You read the book?
Dengar is covered in like
bandages,
and he looks kind of odd. What drives a wedge between the two of them is that Dengar is kind of like a wild child as far in regards to like bounty hunting. He's a little bit more devil may care.
Sure.
But in order to fit into modern society better after everything that's happened with clones, Dengar has had massive amounts of reconstructive surgery to not look like a clone. And that really upset Boba because part of the reason he was like, "You're part, like we're brothers.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be my brother. Like what?" He's like, "I'm not your brother. I'm a clone." So that's kind of part of like their flashback situation is like learning more about Dengar,
Sure.
and learning about like
Interesting.
Boba feeling that he had a connection with someone.
Yeah.
But then, like, feeling betrayed by them, and that kind of like springboarding him into only working alone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, like, him and like, that's why he's always been kind of weird with Fennec. Like, I don't need a partner. Like, I don't need this kind of thing. Like the last time I did this, like, it didn't work out
Right.
well. And Dengar's like, "You're alive? Like, we thought you were dead.
It's been years, bud.
It's been years." He's like, I've heard rumors about your armor floating around, but not you, dude. So Dengar shows up, and they, after all of those flashbacks, and we learned about their relationship. Look, in the books, Dengar is not a clone. This is not, but this is my own. If we're inventing our own new canon, I think this is how you create a relationship between the two of them.
Yeah.
Dengar and Boba get Slave One out of the Jabba's impound.
Sure.
But they make an absolute mess of it.
Okay.
And the whole time, you can kind of feel like Dengar like egging on Boba to kind of like get back to his old ways a little bit. As he's like, "You've calmed down in your old age. You spend too much time with like, you know, the
Tuskens,
the
yeah.
sand people. Like, what are you doing?" And so like Dengar and Boba don't just get Slave One out of there. They kind of take out the trash.
Oh.
I want to see the two of them get in there and make a mess.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because let's let Boba be Boba, but I
Right.
also want to see like Dengar like get after it.
Sure. Do the Gamorreans die?
No,
Okay. But the
I
rest
would
of
never ham hock, ham hock and pork
chop,
rind?
yeah.
Absolutely not.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Absolutely not.
But
They're my sweet, sweet boys.
Yes, and they got
I
shafted.
would, and they got literally. got, you
Still a little upset by that, to be honest.
They get the fire spray out, and it's he takes Dengar to the Sarlacc pit to drop that seismic charge in there.
Sure.
But also to see like if his armor's in there. I think for me, I think it's to really display the devil on his shoulder that is Dengar. I think they take the ship to go see if the armor's in there, if they can see it inside the Sarlacc pit. And as they're like leaving, like I feel like Dengar's like, "Oops!" Like,
Like Casey Jones.
yeah, he kind of Casey Jones at the
Casey.
Sarlacc pit. Just to be and Bo was like, "Why would you do that?" And Dengar's like, "Come on, that felt
Why
good.
wouldn't I do
That
that?
felt good, didn't it?
Yeah.
That thing almost digested you for 1,000 years. That probably felt awesome." And Bo was like, "It did feel that was actually yeah."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, all right." We find out at the end of this episode that Dengar finds out that Boba is trying to get money to finish Fennec's surgery because they go to check on.
Sure.
And Dengar's like, "Why are we checking who Fennec? Like
Fennec Shand, really? Her?
Shand? Like she's second tier. Like we're like the guys, right? Like she's not the guy. like I'm the guy.
Yeah.
Basically, Dengar's like, I mean, I've got a job. If we want to go do a job,
Okay.
we can get some money real quick
Sure.
to take care of this. And Bo was like, okay. Fennec is, she's like back and up.
Right.
And they make an agreement with the mod person, like, "Hey, I'm gonna go do this job. I'm gonna return to pay you for Fennec's work. Like, I'm gonna need Fennec to help me get my armor back because I think I figured out where it might be."
Okay.
And Dengar's like, "Cool, like we've got a little bit of time before we can do this job, so like you'll get your armor back and meet with me there." That's how, and that's where all of the stuff of him getting his armor
the
back.
window of opportunity.
That's the window of opportunity. Sorry, I was just like, there was one line there that I was like, nope, it's right there. Okay, great.
Good job, past me.
So Boba and Fennec show up to meet Dengar for this job. We find out through their conversation that they are moving to Trandosha. I think that's the name of the planet.
Yep. I think so. I mean, they are
Trandoshans.
Trandoshans. Yeah, so I would. Yeah.
I'm assuming it's Trandosha. I could be wildly
Would you like
wrong.
me to look that up?
Hey, Brian, let me know if I'm right or wrong.
Yep, that's correct, Jay. Trandoshans are from Trandosia. Back to you, gentlemen.
Cool, good job.
Great. I'm going to keep saying Trandosha, but let's all assume that I have learned it from editing this show.
I learned it, but I'm choosing to say it the way I've been
The
saying
timelines are a wibbly wobbly when you're in content. So Trandosha, they make their way there. They realize that it is not a bounty. It's basically a lot of Trandoshans have captured Black Kirsten, or how do you say it?
Chrysanthemum.
Black Chrysanthemum. Because we all know Trandoshans and Wookiees do not get
They
along.
do not mix, no.
And so basically they have, the Trandoshans have taken Black Chrysanthemum as a hostage, and they are trying to hold what is left of like Kashyyyk and the Wookiees. Like they're trying to hold him hostage because Black Chrysanthemum is like kind of a champion to those people.
Okay.
And so, but the Wookiees have just been like, "Hey, we don't want to pay these jerks. We'd rather pay you guys to go get him
Okay.
than pay these guys to get him back." And so they make a deal with the Wookiees. They're like, "Cool, like we'll infiltrate here, and we'll go get him back." And so it's Fennec, Dengar, and Boba back in his armor, like rocketing through a Trandoshan facility and just murking a bunch of Trandoshans.
Yes.
And they are putting up a hell of a fight.
Yes.
They free Black Chrysanthemum. There's a little bit of an issue because none of them speak Wookiee, but they do their best to communicate. They're like, so many people just speak Wookiee. Like, we don't speak. Like, I want to speak to that because they really make it seem like so many people speak Wookiee, and I'm like, no, they don't. I'm like, they don't. I was like, it's growl language. Like, no, we don't. I'm sorry, we don't speak growl language. We can learn it. Clearly, it's easy to learn.
You can learn it
because you can just
sure,
fine. They basically like free him out, and there is basically like the final fight of this escapade is we find out that Bosk is indeed there.
Oh.
And so you get like a pretty like crazy fight between Boba, Dengar, Fennec, Black Chrysanthemum, and Bosk, who is like a menace. Through this fight, basically, you see Dengar, like there's like a choice that needs to be made in this fight, and you see Dengar Dengar and Fennec like trying to be, like I like the idea that Bosk has like Black Chrysanthemum like in a shot, and Dengar's like, just take the shot. You can take the shot. He's like, I might just absolutely kill this Wookiee, and they're like, and Fennec's like, just we can talk this out. We can talk this out. We can talk this out. Like, and I like the idea that Boba, like, this is the first, like, he actually takes off his helmet to talk to Bosk.
Sure.
It's like, we don't, like, you and I go way back. Like, let's make a deal here. And we start seeing his ability to, like, statecraft a little bit. And that's the first time we see Boba like
put down the
figure
gun
out
and actually
something without the blaster.
Yep. Or the flamethrower, or the backpack missile.
Yeah, and that's the moment where like we see Dengar's kind of like, okay,
I don't like new Boba.
I don't like new Boba, but like we have to. But like I think the Boba is like just savaging this Trandoshan base.
Oh sure.
So like we get like the dichotomy of it. They free Black Chrysanthemum. They make a deal with Bosk, and then I like the idea that Bosk, as like Black Chrysanthemum is walking away, just like tries to take a shot at Black Chrysanthemum, is like, haha, like, and I think Boba takes the hit.
Oh,
and that's where the life debt comes in.
Okay,
it's like I tried to make a deal, and then he just absolutely wastes Bosk. Or doesn't kill him, but like wounds him enough for
he's
away.
Wounded. Yeah, he's going to be in a Bacta tank for a while. He'll remember that shot.
Yeah, we love a Bacta tank here at the, and so that is episode 5.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
episode 6, Dengar kind of takes off after this. They
Sure,
get paid,
he's kind of done, yeah.
and he's like, yeah, you can. I guess you're gonna hang out with Fennec. Like, whatever, man. Like, I'm out of here. That's when we have the transition into Boba taking Tatooine.
So the season is the season going to end? I'm sorry, is the season going to end with the shot that ended Mando season 2 of him going in?
No.
Oh, okay.
What's going to end is so this is episode 6.
Right.
I'm keeping it 8 episodes for the first season.
Oh, okay.
Episode 6, they take over Jabba's palace,
Right.
and we see there's kind of like we get a montage of like him trying to like get control of being a mob boss. Like he's meeting with certain people in Mos Espa about like how this is going to work and things like that.
Sure.
And there's rumblings of the people of Mos Espa like trying to like organize and build like a better government. And that's being led by Cobb.
Okay.
Yeah. But what ends up as all these machinations happen, he gets a message from the twins being like, "Hi, like we actually like
That was our uncle's.
this is our uncle's territory. Like we actually like technically have claim to this under." I like the idea that they're a little bit more polite.
Yes.
It's like I understand. Like, thank you for taking care of Bib Fortuna. That guy was a tool.
He was.
But they were like, if you'd like, we'd love to like talk about, we'd love to discuss like a transition
Sure.
into us controlling that.
We can go with some
Like
mutual
we can come
beneficial.
there, or
Yeah.
if you'd like to come to Nal Hutta, like
Yeah.
you're more than welcome to come. And Boba's like, all right, I'll see you on Nal Hutta because I want to see the Hutt planet so badly.
Yes.
So we go to Nal Hutta, baby.
Yes, we need to see Nal Hutta.
I want to see just how the structure of that society works.
Yes.
I just want to see all of it. I want to see Boba Fett and Nal Hutta like trying to be a statesman. He's got Fennec with him. And it eventually they're like, look, we can't just like we can't just like let you have this, but like we don't really want it. But like it's technically our responsibility. Look, we have these fighting pits. We have some fights going on, and if you'd like to be our champion here, we've got some bets going that if we could win this, it would win us enough money that we really don't have to worry about Tatooine at all. So if you would like to become our champion in like the fighting pits, that would suffice. And so they're like, you can have whoever you'd like to come like fight with you. Like it's kind of a squad based
Cool.
thing.
All right, great.
Like you might be fighting some monsters. You might be there's like a whole.
It's the whole thing.
We're starting a tournament arc.
Yeah. Look at you starting an anime tournament arc. I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you.
And so it comes to basically what it comes down to is that they get to this like final fight, like fighting like Boba has to fight the champion of another Hutt, and he has hired Black Chrysanthemum. And the two and Black Chrysanthemum's like, I have a life debt to this person. I can't fight. And they're all like, oh well, okay, like they have to basically like fight their way out of there. And it's the kind of thing where all of the Hutts are so upset, but it's also like, I imagine it's televised, and it's the kind of thing where it was like everyone is so impressed with how successfully they fought their way out of there. They thought it was part of the show. And so the Hutts are like,
okay.
well, okay, like we'll let it slide on this one. And since you technically won the championship, like this is like our reward for you. Like it was supposed to be for the palace, but we're not going to be there, so it's fine. And they're gifted a baby Rancor.
Yay!
And it comes down to and then that's so he basically has staked his claim,
Right.
and then we're dealing with a like basically Boba gets back to Tatooine as like the undisputed like domo of like Mos Espa.
Sure.
And he gets word that there has been like basically like a revolution in Mos Espa, and like the people have like taken control from like organized crime.
Oh, nice.
it's the kind of thing where like Boba comes in and he's like, I'm the major domo of this. This is my territory. Like, we need to figure out some kind of like relationship. Otherwise, like things are going to go to pot. And Cobb is like, I think we can manage on our own. Like, I'm not 100% sure like what you'd be able to do for us.
Right.
And like as they're having that conversation, I think like Cad Bane shows up and wastes Cobb. Like similar to the show.
Sure.
But it gives it a little bit more of like an official like capacity to it. And he's like, the Pikes won't go quietly. And so you see basically like the last episode of this season is a pretty much an all-out fight between Boba and all of his people with the Pikes again. But also he's got Tusken Raiders on his side, so they come to that's part of the fight. Like there's other parts of like everything.
Tatooine all coming together.
There's like it's the kind of thing where like they don't want Boba to help, but he does in his own way, and it's the kind of thing where I want Boba Fett to be. I want him to be the Gentleman John Marconi of Tatooine.
Yes.
Like he's like, I am not screwing around, but also if you don't get in my way, I won't hurt you.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Like, and the end shot of that, and then the next part of that, like the second season is going to be like his relationship with like Mos Espa and like what that means going forward for like all of like his enterprise will be expanding.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's my Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
There's no Mando, which bums me out because it's two of my favorite episodes of television ever, but they don't exist in this.
They don't
I want to
exist
go to I want to go to Trandoshan and fight Bosk.
Yes.
I want to see. Yeah.
You want to go now? How to?
Yeah.
Have him fight in a pit. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is my Book of Boba Fett season 1.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
8 episodes. Boba's in all of them. It sets up a season 2.
You know, can I rewrite something really quickly?
Sure.
It's not Cad Bane that shows up to waste Cobb. It's Dengar. He's like, the Pikes pay so good, man.
Yeah.
Why would I? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Of course. It's Dengar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he finally has it. Yeah. Because that's good character stuff right there.
Because Cad Bane can be season 2.
Yep.
And we can dive into that relationship, and all the flashbacks can be like a young Boba and Cad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's way better.
Way better.
Good job. Dude, that's very good.
Yeah. I try.
You did. You succeeded. Well, actually, Jay, yeah, you did. There was no try.
There's only do.
You do.
All right, Adam. Hit me with that fix, baby.
Okay. So I'm of the similar mindset of you.
Okay.
The show is really good, but 2 episodes of a 7-episode season did not involve our main character.
Yeah.
And even though, again, they were the best Star Wars we've seen in a very long time, because it was all our friends getting together, and Luke and Ahsoka were friends, and then turning Grogu, and it's like, this is the best, and they should hang out more and talk, and it's Ahsoka. It's fantastic. It was fantastic.
Who doesn't like that? Who doesn't want that?
But they shouldn't be here.
No.
So I am going to attempt to redo season 1 of Boba Fett the way, and keeping a lot of the stuff that was in the show. I'm just restructuring a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I'm taking those episodes that Boba Fett's not in and using that time to lengthen the other episodes.
Okay.
So it's going to be 6 episodes, but they're going to be probably all about an hour long. We are going to cram this stuff full of stuff.
Yeah.
Because we need time to do some really cool, rad stuff and set up different contexts for some of the things that actually that repeat in this version of the show.
Yes.
So, and also the main thing is the flashbacks are done way better.
Okay.
Because it's not just...
So you're sticking to the flashback model.
I'm going to stick to the flashback
That's
model,
fine.
but you'll see what I do with it that actually makes it like, oh, this makes way more sense instead of just being in an animus.
Okay.
So, we start with episode 1 opens up with Boba and Fennec just... You have a notebook. I have a thing.
I know. Mine's a page and a half.
I wrote a thing. Most of the stuff is like the thing from the show. Don't worry about it. I'll make this quicker. Boba and Fennec in the streets of Mos Espa wrecking shop. Like, remember
Okay.
that little scene from the trailer that was like, oh, Boba and Fennec are
Yes.
like, they're murking these fools. It's on. We start the show off with Boba Fett being Boba Fett because we show up for Boba Fett kicking ass.
Yes.
So the show starts with Boba and Fennec kicking ass. There's a cool hero shot for both of them. You know, cool guys don't look at explosions. You know, title card, Book of Boba Fett, and the guitarist, whatever. It's super awesome. But then come back from the title card 12 hours earlier. We're back at the palace. This is kind of what happened normally in episode 1 of Boba and Fennec being like, we got to go into town and we have to meet the people.
Get supplies.
And meet the people of my territory and let them know what's going on.
Okay.
So Boba and Fennec go to Mos Espa and they start walking around and they start meeting the people, meeting the business owners. They go to Sanctuary. They meet that Twi'lek lady and they can do the helmet thing if they want. I think it's pretty cool. But Boba asks, like, do you have a meeting room? And she's like, of course we do. Yes, he says, great. In an hour or so, all the business owners from Mos Espa are going to come here and I'm going to talk to them. So Boba has a meeting with all the people of, you know, the important people of Mos Espa, not the mayor though, of just like, hi, I'm Boba Fett. You probably heard of me. Here's what I just took over Jabba's territory. Things are going to basically be the same, but here is my thesis statement. What we've already talked about. Like, I want my territory and this new era on Tatooine to be one of like nobility and strength and power and safety. But like, if you cross me, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
But I'm Gentleman John Marconi. Don't cross me. I'm gonna make sure everyone is taken care of.
I'm sure you've heard of me.
Yes.
Hello.
So somebody asks him about the gaffy stick, and I was like, oh. That's actually, thank you for that question. This is how I got it. And then we have Boba Fett narrate the flashback of how he got out of the Sarlacc pit. Like, basically, I'm taking everything, the flashbacks from episode 1 and 2.
Because people wouldn't know on like, if they would question, like, we heard you, like, you've been in the Sarlacc pit. Like, what is...
Yeah, you being thrown in there was like...
I think that's how you stage it. Like, how are we to believe you are who you say you are? Because for all we know, Boba Fett went into the Sarlacc pit, and no one's ever made it out of there before.
So he narrates all of episode 1 and 2. Getting out, the Jawas, the Tuskens, killing the thing, saving a kid, training with the lady, taking out the train, getting the gaffy stick. We end after getting the gaffy stick. And I was like, I learned from the Tuskens that we need tribe. It's the only way to make it in this galaxy. And right now... This
it's
galaxy,
the only way to make it on Tatooine. It's the only way to make it in the galaxy.
This galaxy is in turmoil. The Empire was ridiculous. I have been around through 2 different changes in government, galactic government. Things are not are crazy. The New Republic does not care about the Outer Rim.
No.
They don't have the resources to handle what's going on. We're on our own out here. We will never make it on our own. We need to come together as a community, and I can lead us to safety, or just like we can do this together.
I'm not
we need
just
a strong
about
hand.
Jabba was about making himself rich.
Yes.
I am about making everyone rich.
Yeah, and keeping people safe
from
the galaxy at large, which is still very much in turmoil. So everyone's like, "Oh, this Boba Fett guy's wow, he's making a lot of sense." Like, okay, cool. Boba Fett and Fennec walk out of the meeting. And then they get jumped. It's the scene from the beginning of the episode. But now we see this fight from a different angle and notice that there are people in the shadows watching them fight. But we see the end of the fight again. It's super cool, but from a different angle. And then one of the guys is still alive. And so Boba makes an example of him and says, you cross... They kill everybody except one. It's like, if you cross me, the citizens of my territory, you will be dealt with. And so they take the guy... and Fennec just drags him back to the palace. And they do the last shot is them just walking down the street with this guy like, no, and Fennec just dragging him like a badass.
Yeah.
And then people are like, whoa, Boba Fett's like, we got Boba Fett on our side.
Yeah.
Yo. End of this first episode. Episode 2. Basically, it's kind of what happened in episode 2. They questioned the guy and turns out like the mayor hired him and he was like, but we don't know anything more than that. Oh, okay, great. Boom, you're gone. The 2 Gamorreans show up. This happened in episode 1 of the first version. But this time, but the Gamorreans are like, we'll work for you. Yeah, we're going to be great.
Yeah.
Gamorreans on Team Boba.
We obviously don't belong on this planet other than to work at Jabba's palace.
So then Boba gets greeted in his palace by entourages by the rival syndicates. So the twins show up with Black Chrysanthemum from Nal Hutta, obviously. A trio of Pike Syndicate representatives show up.
Okay.
And then a group of representatives show up from Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn, okay.
Now, I don't know what happened in the comics. I don't know what happened in the books. I don't know or whatever the new books are. I don't know if something happened between Solo and this, but I'm going off of the knowledge that was just in the movies, so I'm just going off of that. So Crimson Dawn is still a thing.
That should be enough.
It should be enough. Just as a heads up, I'm going off of the stuff that was in Solo. So Crimson Dawn is still around. So representatives from the big 3 major crime syndicates show back up and being like, hey, this was a big change. Jabba was a huge influence, and Bib Fortuna was okay, and we tolerated him, but
he was a placeholder.
Yeah, you being here is not cool. We do not want this. But we get a really cool political scene of all these crime syndicates.
This isn't going to work.
Yeah. Failed threats. Overt threats. Everyone talking about their plans for this territory. And Boba you will pry this territory from my cold dead hands. I will see you all burn. He will not step down.
Yeah. And to which I think playing off of your concept of tribe is you're only one man and her. So
everyone, but they tried it, but there's also a little bit of businessmen, business.
Yeah, there's obviously political.
Yeah, political stuff going on, blah, blah, blah. Everybody leaves except one lone person from the Crimson Dawn representatives. And after everyone leaves, Fennec goes to remove this person, and this person does not leave. And then Fennec tries to forcefully remove them. It doesn't go well, and they fight. And it's really cool, and they're evenly matched. And then this person takes their helmet off, and is revealed that it's Kira.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, Boba Fett, I have heard so much about you. And your intentions are noble, and I see what you're trying to do, and that is great. And I'm sure...
From Solo.
From Solo. It's Kira from Solo.
Yeah,
Yes.
but she's probably a lot older.
Not really.
She's
Han's age. And at that point, Han is
oh, no, you're right.
37?
You're right. No, absolutely.
Maybe?
Totally.
So,
right there with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, it's great and all, but there are forces beyond what was in this room that will not allow you to achieve those goals. You gotta know. And then she leaves. So, it's okay, but Boba says, nope, still gonna do it. So, when he leaves, when he escorts Kira out, there's a baby Rancor waiting for him outside. A gift from the Hutts.
You got to keep the Rancor.
Absolutely. So Boba and Fennec go to see the mayor, but we get the major domo guy, or the guy that I really liked. He's still there. Mayor's a total dick. And then the mayor asks, as Boba's giving him the pitch or whatever, and is talking to him. The mayor is a dick and asks, "Hey, whatever happened to that Tusken Raider tribe that you were a part of?" Because knowing full well what actually happened.
Yeah.
And so Boba does a flashback again of oh yeah, this is what happened. But probably the story you don't know is what happened to them after that. And then he continues his flashback and tells them how he wrecked absolute shop on those raiders and killed all of them. So we're going to get that part of the flashback here.
Yeah.
It's a little out of order, but nope, he killed all of them single hand, through just with a ship. I killed them. So that's what happens when you cross me and you hurt mine.
Yeah.
I will take you out. So, oh no, the mayor's oh, whatever, I'm not scared of you. And yes, I am. So Boba and Fennec go back to the palace, and then we find out that when they get back, the Pikes and the Crimson Dawn are moving on Tatooine in force. Bum, bum, bum. Because one of the scenes from later in the series where people start landing and walking out the ship.
Yeah.
Okay, so episode 3. Knowing that now there's a battle on the horizon for Mos Espa and the Tatooine at large, Boba starts recruiting an army. And so he goes out on the streets of Mos Espa to try to find people and citizens that might, be able to help the cause. And this is when we find the Mod Squad.
Okay.
I'm keeping the Mod Squad. But here's the thing. I think the idea of it is actually kind of decent. I think they just chose the wrong British subculture to base them off of.
Punks.
Yes. Anti-establishment punks.
Yeah.
They got bantha leather jackets,
hell yeah,
mohawks, spikes. They're still modded out. They're
and they have
cyberpunks.
And they have badass speeders.
Yes. They have badass speeders.
Yeah.
They're not Power Ranger speeders. They're badass speeders.
Biker punks. Hell yeah.
Hell yes. And it's like, you guys are actually the establishment. I also hate the status quo. That's exactly why I'm doing all those things. And like, I get it. You guys have been, were raised during the Empire, and that sucked.
Yeah.
I've seen worse things than you guys could ever imagine. I don't like it either. Let's see if we can change this together.
I think that's great.
Like, yeah, down with the machine. Like, absolutely down with the machine. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, cyberpunks join Boba Fett's crew.
Hell yeah.
It's awesome. They go back to the palace. They're like, okay, great. So we got to figure out what the plan is. Crimson Dawn, people showing up, lots of Pikes showing up, and that is when Black Chrysanthemum shows up and starts wrecking shop in Boba's palace. And now we have a huge fight through the palace.
Yeah.
And a little bit more than we just saw in the show itself, so we can actually see, because like remember when they break in and like they steal Slave One? We're gonna replace that with this fight, so they can fight through the palace, so we get to see the inside of it a little bit.
Because we want to see more of it.
Exactly. So they fight, and it's really cool. And the cyberpunks are trying to help, but they're like, it's Black Chrysanthemum. He's getting knocked around, but they eventually subdue him, and they call the Hutts to pick up their guy.
Yeah.
End of the episode 4. The Hutts show up, and they're like, you know what? We've actually been given an offer, and you know what? We're out of the running for this place. We don't care anymore. Good luck. You can keep the Rancor. Good luck to you. You're going to need it.
Yeah.
And he's like, Black Chrysanthemum is like, yeah, we don't care. It's fine. Kind of lose whatever, kill him. We don't care. And that's when Boba's like, hey, you know what my pitch was earlier? Like, I'm telling you, man, we're stronger together. I'm going to let you go. There's no reason for you to die. Like, there's a place for you here. We could use you.
There's a place.
So, Black Chrysanthemum runs off, and then Boba and Fennec head off to Mos Eisley. So the Chrysanthemum runs off, and then so Boba goes down to hang out with the baby Rancor a little bit, and starts like trying to figure out what to do. He's got a lot of options. He's backs against the wall. It's like, what's he gonna do? He's not quite sure. He's petting the Rancor. He's having like that quality time.
Actually, see a relationship with the two of them, and not just.
And then that is when Fennec walks in and goes, "Oh, by the way, the person you flagged, you wanted to be warned about, just arrived at Mos Eisley." So Boba and Fennec head over to Mos Eisley and sneak around trying to find the quarry, and eventually do, and they see Han Solo.
Whoa!
Snooping around. So instead of seeing Luke in this, we're seeing Han.
Hell yeah!
Because Han Solo makes way more sense showing up in the Book of Boba Fett than Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, I cried when Luke Skywalker was there talking about the Force, and I want to see that. He deserves his own show. But in this show, Han effing Solo should be in it. Mm-hmm. So there's Han. Boba sees him and is like, awesome, this is exactly what I wanted. Boba and Fennec are walking up to Han, who is unaware that Boba's behind him. And just as Boba's about to introduce himself to Han gets shot at by Bosk.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So now Han and Chewie shows up out of nowhere like, ah! So now there's a 3-way fight between Bosk, Boba and Fennec, and Han and Chewie. Everyone thinks everyone's against each other. Boba was just trying to talk to Han. So now we get a 3-way fight through Mos Eisley, and it's awesome.
That's really good.
And eventually,
yes,
Boba's gonna save Han and hurt Bosk enough to get him to go away. And so, right as Han and Chewie and Boba and Fennec are just about to talk, Boba goes up to Han and slugs him in the mouth. I was like, that was for the Sarlacc. And then Han's down, rubbing his chin.
Han hits him right back, and it's just like, that's for the...
And then Boba goes to help him up. And because Han's like, he's heard things, but like, what's going on? And that is when Leia runs in, gun drawn, pointed right at Boba Fett. And also, Leia is visibly pregnant. So Han's like... Boba sees this. Fennec's got her gun drawn, like pointed right at her. Chewie's, of course, now pointed at Fennec. Boba takes his helmet off and is like, "Yo, I just want to talk." And so Han goes, he's like, he helps Han up.
Yeah, that's
like, honey.
This really rules.
So he goes, I'm pretty sure I'm okay. Don't worry, I got Chewie here with me. Everything's fine. You and the twins just go back to the ship, and I'll be there shortly.
Twins, huh?
Yeah, the twins. You know why? Because I'm changing the timeline right now. It's Jason and Jaina in her womb. We're moving on. This is it, guys. Hey, we're calling
our shot.
We're calling the shot.
Hey,
this is the fix.
those movies were bad.
Those movies were bad. And
Let's put them on an ice floe and push them out.
it's a hanging lightsaber of Damocles hanging over everything that happens right now.
Yeah, it sucks.
It sucks. I'm changing it. If you guys like it, that's perfectly fine. But this is now in a new timeline. We need it to be in a new timeline so that we don't know where everything ends up.
Yeah, man.
We need it to be in a new timeline. New time. World Between Worlds.
Calling our shot.
Ezra did something. So, Ezra, why did you change it? We're in a different
people
timeline.
are hopping in the comments right now. And thank you for the engagement. We really appreciate it.
Jaina Solo is one of the best characters ever written.
She's awesome.
She is if she were a Padawan of Ahsoka, it would end realities. It would be one of the greatest things of all time. I'm just putting it out there. Universe, make that happen. Okay, so Han and Boba talk, and they actually have like a really good discussion of like, hey, we've heard rumblings about what's going on here. This is why we came out, because we've dealt with you before, and Leia's the reason why Jabba's dead. So we figured we were the best ones to come out and figure out what the heck was going on out here. Boba tells them like what his goals are. Han's like, that's actually pretty noble. And you know what? The New Republic is, even though we're kind of part of the government, kind of helping out. Like, you're right. We don't have enough resources to help everybody. This is actually like a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
We wish you the best of luck. And Boba's like, congratulations. Like, they're actually like not enemies anymore. Like of course, they jive each other about Cloud City and like being stuck in carbonite and Jabba's palace, stuff like that. Like they poke each other, but like there's actually some mutual respect going on, and that's pretty cool. And Chewie's is like, rah, rah, and so everything works out all right. So Han and wishes Boba well, and vice versa. And they head back to the palace. And this is one of the greatest episodes of Star Wars ever, because Han and everyone's there and the timelines are changed.
Yes.
Hooray! Okay, episode 5. Now we're moving and grooving. We check in with Kira. It's Crimson Dawn are like she's trying the charm offensive.
Okay.
And because Boba, I think I forgot this at some point, but Boba talked to all the crime families and was like, hey, let's all work together and like we can all still make a ton of money, but like with a lot less violence and a lot less death, which would make, if everyone does well, we all do well. So let's just kind of keep everything flowing and being nice. And then like, well, we don't really know. We're just so new to this. And he's like, then let's just be neutral throughout this whole thing and let me handle it, and then we can deal with stuff later. Yeah. Which is what happened in the show. And they're like, all right. But later on, now Kira's been like trying to charm offensive with the families. As we know, that's actually what happened in the first. But now we're gonna see it. We're gonna see her like talking to people and like trying to go about it in a smart way, not so much with violence like the Pikes. The Pikes are being more aggressive with Mos Espa. They're starting to rough up the citizens. So Boba's going to now travel out to the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
Because he's like, hey, this stuff's happening. And he ends up finding one of the like evil tribes that they talked about. Like some of them are nice and noble, so live in harmony with the land. Yeah. Others aren't. He finds one of them that aren't. And they're kind of dicks. And he's like, he tries and he talks about talk about the stick or whatever. But they're like, they are not hearing it. They don't care. But while he's in that tribe talking to them, he spots somebody that he recognizes. And it turns out the person who taught him is alive and is a slave of this tribe because the raiders captured them. I'm just assuming it was a woman. Okay. And traded her and got paid. The tribe paid for her. It was like because they took spoils from the thing. It was like she was still alive because she was the best fighter. She was still alive. Like, well, fuck, we'll just take her. And we'll sell her off. We'll just sell her off as a slave to another tribe, and it totally worked. So Boba's like, "I'm gonna take her," and Boba like gets her out of there.
Cool.
And so now his teacher.
Because what a good character! Like that, they just like wrote off the show, and I was like, "Why are you not a part of the crew?"
Yep.
It'd just be way cool. If you were just a part of it. Like the Tuskens being a part of that like big fight at the end, like really would make it so much more fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just call her teacher.
And I was like, I said I wanted to unify Tatooine. I meant unify Tatooine. Yeah.
So teacher joins up with Boba. After he's done with the Tusken Raiders, he heads off to Freehold and talks to Cobb.
Okay.
And they have a really cool conversation. It's like, I know you have the armor. And it's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And they have, like, it's like, and Boba's like, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do what you guys are doing for Freehold. Like, I'm trying to do it for the entire planet. And they're like, we don't really know if that's, like, a good call for us.
Yeah.
These pikes seems like serious business. We'll think about it. What have you. They're like, but okay. But, like, Boba's like, they have that good, he takes his helmet off, and Timothy Oliphant's there, looking sexy as hell. They're having a nice conversation. Kind of like, with Han, like, being characters, cool characters, talking to each other as someone who wore that armor and like knows a couple of tricks about it. It was like, yeah, that armor's pretty cool. It's like, did you know about the knee rockets? There were knee rockets? Damn, that would have really helped when I took out that thing with Din. Oh, well, cool. I mean, that's great. But so Boba goes back with Teacher back to the palace, and that's when Cad Bane rolls in. And the same thing that happens, he caps Cobb.
Okay.
So the Pikes are like, are showing up in force, trying to take out all the support structures, and then they get back to the palace, and the cyberpunks are just like, hey, most Espa is basically burning at this point. There's a lot of people are very angry, and the citizens are not happy, and people are scared. And that's when Boba turns to Fennec and is like, you got to make the call. And so we hear the Mando sting again, and so Fennec makes a call out to Din. So episode 6 is basically the same thing as episode 7. Okay. All of the same things happen, but here are the major differences. Kira's the one that turned the families against everybody.
Okay.
So the Crimson Dawn's in charge of the families now.
Okay.
So we have the Pikes and Cad Bane versus Crimson Dawn, who's basically now fronting the crime families, versus Team Boba, which is and they blow up. Oh, sorry. The Pikes blow up Sanctuary again. But this time they blow it up when Kersantin's in there. Oh. But Kersantin, as it turns out, saw what was going on. And after he ripped the arms off that Trandoshan, saw enough of what was going on that he threw the helmet further out into the door and was able to like give a growl of warning to our proprietary lady that most of the people survived the blast.
Okay.
Some people clearly died.
But it was
But Kersantin was thwart because he was there in the room when it happened. He saw what was happening, was able to stop the worst of it. But he was blowed up. So he wasn't captured and then came back this time. He was like, no, he was in the explosion. So Din shows up. Everyone shows up. It's it's a 3-layer fight. It's until Din's there, and then Kersantin, like all the main things of like, oh no, what's gonna happen? Oh, Black Kersantin starts throwing fools around. I was like, we got a chance. Oh no, more bad guys. What's gonna happen? The Freeholders showing up. Oh my god, what's gonna happen? Oh no, here come the Pikes. Then the citizens rise up, like, no, we're back in Boba. Go get him, Boba. Oh, but so like eventually it gets down to that same of like, okay, there's been so many rallies. And then there's like one little extra layer of time coming on, like, oh no, now we had a shot, now we don't anymore. And it looks like everything's about to go to pot until Han Solo shows back up and flies over Mos Espa in the Falcon, and Boba gets a call. It's like, I need 5 minutes. I think it can help. And so Han goes to the Crimson Dawn ship and talks to Kira.
Oh, that's good. Yep.
And it is a loaded conversation because they haven't seen each other since the events of Solo, and so much has happened.
That's okay. That's really good. That's really good.
Because Kira, clearly still has feelings for Han, but she still chose to be in charge of Crimson Dawn.
She chose Maul.
So it is a very good conversation.
Let's go to the mall.
So Han is able to talk her down from trying to take over the territory and causing all this violence.
Yeah.
So she calls back her troops and withdraws her help from the crime families. So it's just now down to Team Boba and the Pikes. Same basic stuff happens now. Cad Bane calls out, like, hey, who actually killed the Tusken Raiders? It was the Pikes, man. There's nothing you could do about it. But this time, Teacher's there with him. So he says, Fennec, go kill all the head Pikes that are on the ship or whatever. Yeah. I don't think I'm on a ship this time. And Teacher and Boba go waste Cad Bane.
Okay.
Or you know what? No. Teacher goes with Fennec.
Yeah.
Teacher goes with Fennec, and they just wreck shop in their I'm in your base killing all your leaders.
Yes.
It's nuts. Of course, Boba beats Bane, that makes sense. And the Rancor, the droids come back out. Rancor riding.
Yeah.
Grogu's not here, by the way. This is all before. That's all that stuff's going to happen in Mando season 3. It's just Din on his own before he talks to the Forge.
Because he needs something to do before
he needs
all
something
that.
to do before that. He just got a call and was like, yeah, I'll come help. So it's all none of that Grogu stuff. And so Team Boba wins. The Pikes are defeated. They leave the planet. Kira leaves the planet, but like, ooh, she knows Leia's pregnant, and she's like, this kind of her is like, I'm happy, but also really angry. I don't know how I feel about this. Why do I still care about Han? I chose Maul. Ooh, I have complicated feelings.
Yeah.
And basically, at the end, we kind of leave the show at the same place, but our thesis statement is way more strong this time. Of like, we are setting up a place for the misfits, the people, the forgotten, the people, and like I think Din can say like, hey, there's another planet out there that is doing something very similar to yours.
Dantooine.
It's always Dantooine.
I'm just kidding.
I know. No, I don't. But I don't know the name of where his home base was at the beginning of season 1 of Mando. But remember how he keeps going back?
Oh, yeah.
And they keep rebuilding, and we've seen shots from the trailer, and it's like the guys is like, oh yeah, like
what was that?
We've been building it, like doing all sorts of crazy stuff here. Like it's getting better. Like,
Hey, gentlemen, I think the planet that you're referring to is the outpost world of Navarro. Back to you, gentlemen.
they are doing something similar, so maybe there's a possibility of like what you are attempting to do can grow into something more in the Outer Rim, because clearly shenanigans are afoot.
Yeah.
The New Republic does not have the strength to project out here to stop whatever's coming, but maybe our ragtag misfit group of like bounty hunters and stuff, because remember that guy is a bounty hunter. He was running the thing. So
absolutely.
Hey, you may maybe have more friends out here than you thought. Because clearly, I'm aware something's coming, but I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
So, Team Boba,
That's
teacher's
awesome.
alive.
Yeah, that's really good.
Kira's back in the mix.
Yeah.
Han Solo
And we
is
get
around.
we get that classic vibe and feel without having to go to Mando for it.
Yeah.
That's really
He just shows up to help.
Yeah, that Han stuff is really good. And it's good. And because it gives you it gives the same thing that happened with all the Luke and Ahsoka stuff, but it actually ties it into what we're actually doing.
Yeah, and I think we recast Han. Like we don't deep fake Harrison Ford. Doesn't want to. Like we can use the same.
Use that kid.
Use the kid. He's fine. He
did a great job.
And we recast
Solo was not that bad. Solo was pretty good.
It wasn't that bad.
Solo was fun.
We recast Leia, and it's okay because we already did it once with the baby Leia.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's time we can do this, and also it's its own timeline because the twins are coming.
Yeah.
Because it's Jason and Jaina, and it's going to be awesome because they're amazing characters, and Jason never goes bad because that's stupid.
Yeah, the Emperor putting his ghost into that whole thing is like. We have Thrawn. We don't need to. It's the same problem with the new ones. It's like Palpatine can be done. It can be done.
Yeah.
The Emperor doesn't have to come back.
But somehow he came back, Jay.
Threw him into it. Anyway.
Somehow.
It doesn't.
But we'll get there.
But
we're gonna fix those
everyone
movies.
wants to bring back the Emperor so bad in the EU, everywhere. Anytime there's ever been more Star Wars, they're like, but like Palpatine. I'm like, hey, no.
Dark Empire. They only had Dark Empire and Dark Empire 2. That was the only 2 times they did it with the ghost. That's all.
But
At least he was a Force ghost.
It got
some
timey
clones.
wimey and higgledy piggledy.
They get a little weird. Yes.
That's a good fix, brother.
Thanks, man.
That's good. That's better than mine. That's good.
It started with the we can't have Luke. Who can we have? And then same.
Yeah.
Han.
Who actually has a real serious connection with Boba Fett?
Han.
Han and Leia.
And what's like? Then what else can I do with it?
No, that's
She's
good.
pregnant with the twins.
It's really good.
This is 5 years after.
And the Kira stuff, it actually wraps up some stuff from that actually.
And it would also
it accomplishes
reintroduce her?
a lot of goals.
Because if you want to like start tying some of these Star Wars properties together, you can. Tying the prequels.
Whatever. I know what you mean.
Yeah, the two movies that took place before A New Hope.
Yeah.
Those together with the Mando stuff is a lot. Like, okay, sure. What? Sure. If there's a movies we need to tie into each other, with normal stuff, I'll take those
Yeah.
two over the sequel trilogy. Perfectly fine.
1,000%.
Perfectly fine.
1,000%.
I can't wait for Mando season 3 tomorrow. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Whew. Well, I think we fixed it, my man.
We did fix it,
Oh,
Jay.
man. Mando's so close. It's going to be awesome. Oh, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys for hanging on for all of our fixes. Thanks for putting up with the fact that we're basically in a closet full of lights.
So many lights. And we ordered more, and they didn't show up yet. So.
We love making content for you guys, and we're going to keep cranking out all sorts of stuff. And we've got to get ready for.
Yeah, we got to
get ready.
Oh, yeah, we do. It's a little later than I thought it was going to be.
Yep.
We need to set up.
We sure do.
You
You guys are incredible. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you are listening to this on anywhere you find podcasts, if you wouldn't mind just leaving us a quick review, it makes me happy. I like seeing those little numbers go up. Leave us 5 stars or don't. I mean, if you think it's a 5-star podcast, I'd love to hear about it. But if it's less than that, that's cool too. Just your honest opinion. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell and doing that YouTube that you do so well. Guacamole's extra, you space bounty hunting weirdos, you. Yeah, and as we end every one of these episodes, Adam, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
It's the slow Han shot first that you never see coming.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.